What is up, everyone? It's your girl JJ Beats, and we played the infamous Heartbound. The reason why I call it infamous is because right now it's been through a lot of controversy because of the person who made it, aka Thor, also known as Pirate Software. So, this game used to have a lot of positive reviews. It was fully funded on Kickstarter. It made four times the amount I was asking for. It originally was asking 5K to make 20K, and it's been 8 years in development, which is why it's getting a lot of flack because I played through the game, right? And I want to give my thoughts on it because a lot of people just came in and were off the bat like this game's trash, right? But we gotta understand why people might think that way, right? Instead of because of the people, right? Because a lot of people might just think, oh, the game's trash because of the person behind it, right? But is that really the case? So with that being said, let's get on with the video. So I played through the demo because the game is not complete. So to me, it made no sense to buy the game when it's not even gonna be a fully complete game. However, I did see the rest of the game and know how it ends. Based off what I played, I have my gripes with a few things. Let's talk with the positives, right? I like how the game's animated. I like the pixel art. The music's alright. Nothing that really stood out to me, right? But I think, it had a really good start. But I understand where the critiques come from, right? And that's with, I was playing the game, right? And I'm trying to understand why I should play the game. And to understand that, it's, if you play through the game yourself, right? You have two characters. It is Lore and Baron, right? Now, if you play through or look through the Kickstarter, you will have more of an understanding of why you should play through the game. But if you actually play through the game itself, you have no idea why you should play it. And by that, I mean, with Undertale, you kind of understand why you want to play the game. You've been isekai, essentially. Or you fell into a pit. I call it isekai because that's the easiest way to describe it. And you're trying to get out of the pit because of you just want to go back to your homeland, right? That's the premise of Undertale, right? The reason why I bring up Undertale is because a lot of people brought Undertale with the similarities. Now, this game, the premise of it, I would not say it's the same as Undertale, but because it's compared to Undertale, I'm going to compare it to Undertale because they're both indie games. They use the pixel styles, and a lot of people just call it a knockout from that, right? The reason why I can't call it Undertale, though, is because Undertale had wonky humor and whatnot, and the driving force of it was the story, the humor that was going for it. It also had a crazy combat system, right? The reason why I'm not bringing the combat system into this is because these two games have two different systems. This one's more puzzle based. This is a puzzle based system. It's not a combat system. There is a combat system, but the reason why I'm not bringing that up is because this game, the combat is not the main focus of the game. And the reason I say that is because you could fail the combat and still get through the game. I know this because I died through the bosses, okay? I died through the boss battle, and I was still able to go through the game. Some people might hate that. Some people might enjoy that. I'm okay with that. I was just like, okay, I don't want to spend forever playing through the game. I just want to get through the story, right? Now, the story, right? That's where I think the problem lies, right? The story, I have no idea what's going on with the story. With Undertale, you understand the main premise of the story. You're trying to leave the underground, whatever that's called, right? But the reason why you're so compelled into the story is because of the characters' arcs So like you have Sans, you have Toriel, Alphys, Papyrus. You have all these goofy casts, and then you have serious moments too. You have Flowey. You have stuff going on. With this character, with this game, the demo only had, let's say, 5 characters. You have the dad. You don't like the dad. That's what you know so for sure. You have your dog. Your dog's your BFF. You have Binder. You don't know anything about Binder right now. You have Tentacle Monster. We'll get to Tentacle Monster. That's about it, right? So, I played through this game, the demo, and I have a lot of questions. They're not gonna be answered, even if I was to keep playing, because the game's not finished. So, what is the problem with this story? Okay, the problem with this story is that I don't want more of it. I'm just more confused of the story, right? Some people might want more, but I don't, okay? So, off the gate, there's 2 characters. In the Kickstarter, I think the Kickstarter is a little misleading too. You're supposed to have your companion and you, right? So the dog and you. However, I'm not sure if that's just based off the beta or the whole game, but I feel like that's misleading because in the first quote-unquote 10 minutes of it, I take longer to play the game, right? You kind of lose your dog. Like your dog kind of goes with you to do this simple errand. I'm here thinking that errand's supposed to take a long time. It's not supposed to take a long time. You just don't have really a guide to go. Just understand what you're supposed to do. But you're okay. For example, you're supposed to take the trash and then go back into the house, go to bed, right? And then the next day you wake up, the house is a wreck, and then you go outside, find your dog's collar, and then you're like, oh wait, my dog's missing. Is my dog okay? And then you're like, okay, let me look for my dog. And you're like, what's happening to my dog? So essentially, your companion is missing or gone or dead. What? Isn't the whole point is that you and your the whole point is that it's supposed to be you and companion, right? With the Kickstarter, at least, right? But that's not what's happening in the game. The Kickstarter also have other characters, but we're not gonna focus on it because this is a demo, so we don't really know what's going on. But you're going through walking. A lot of people have a problem that it's a walking simulator. I don't really have a problem with that because it's like a way of telling the game is just going through, and then there's puzzles and going on. I'm kind of confused as to why you always go back into your room. That's another thing I was confused about, because I'm here thinking like you pick up items. I'm here you're supposed to use the item for something. I don't understand the point of picking up items like the axe, the socks. The socks was one of my biggest gripes. I still hate just grabbing socks. I don't know if they're supposed to lead to a secret ending, but I still just hate that you just get a bunch of socks and start piling on. The socks really tick me off, okay? But yeah, and then you save on a book. And then you go through the game, but you have to solve puzzles. Which again, that's the primary game, not the fighting itself, because you can still beat the game while losing. So that's why I'm not upset with that aspect. So then you go and you fight Tentacle Monster, which I was just like, what the turd? I was just like, wait. So okay, supernatural is going on, and that's fine. You know, sometimes the isekai stuff happens, and you're like, okay, Tentacle Monster is happening. Okay, I guess we're gonna be isekai'd now. I was just like, where is this going though? That's the main point. Okay. The problem is, at least from when I was playing, I don't understand why any of this is happening, at least from the demo. Especially when later on you find out who the tentacle was. I'm sorry, that part was just what? And so, I'm not sure because I was reading the Kickstarter. Again, you have to go through the Kickstarter to figure some of this stuff out. I was reading the Kickstarter, and it's like some of your choices will seem insignificant, but might affect some things, right? So I'm like, did feeding my dog, did picking up the axe make a change that I didn't realize made the change to, right? And that kind of thing might be like, wait. Can I at least have a guide to that? And I think that's one of the biggest things when it comes to Heartbound is that uh, there was no way for me to figure out like accomplish ending one, accomplish ending two, da da da. Maybe it's because I have the demo, but like all I had was save. That's it. All I had was you saved the game, and that's all I had. So that's all I could do. And I was just like, okay, well, not sure what else I can do now. So yeah, I finally did the demo. Um, and regardless of people wanting me to just be like hate the game, I my stance on it was that if it wasn't for the 8 years of development, I still think there would be a lot of people who would just find the game to be enjoyed. I think it's really the 8 years of development that sours it. And the reason I say this is because I had gone through TikTok because I tried to make TikTok videos because I want to grow myself as an indie developer and as a VTuber. I want to grow myself, right? And what I saw was Yandere Simulator also growing. Yandere Simulator is still having a fan base. Even if people like to bash the game or quote unquote fix the character or fix the designs, people are still playing that game, right? So even if they have their faults with the game, they're still playing it because they like the concept or idea of it. So even if I don't like the concept of this game, there are other people who do. I think it's because a lot of people dislike the character, just like how they dislike not the character, the person, dislike the person behind it because of the something about gaming campaign going on and the person's take on it that really affected how people felt on this game. It brought back people's emotion on it, especially because they haven't gone through. It's kind of the same with Amori, because Mori took 10 years of development, and once Mori officially came out, people finally were happy that it came out. But because you see this person is spending more time streaming, gaming because they became more successful as a streamer, it sours people's opinion on the game because they're focusing more on streaming than developing the game. Because why would you spend more time investing on the game than you can make more money just streaming, right? And that's kind of what both the people who make Yandere Simulator and this game is doing, is that they're spending time on or at least that's how people perceive it, or allegedly, whatever I have to say, that you are seeing them spend a lot of time streaming instead of making their game, and especially because they had a campaign behind the game or have volunteers doing the game, that you are getting upset that they are doing all this other stuff instead of just making the game. And you just don't like the fact that that's being done. That's fine if you feel that way. I'm not saying you're not allowed to feel that way, because you funded the game or been waiting for this game, right? And you're like, why am I waiting this whole time? Same with Amori, right? But the difference with Amori and these two games is that the creator of Amori, first of all, was making a lot of updates with the people, like letting them know constantly what's up with the game, and two, that they weren't like a creator, like a content creator. They had a merch line, but they weren't being like, hey guys, I'm gonna be streaming today and stuff, when they've been working on this project. Like, they're trying to work tooth and nail on this project. And that's the biggest difference that these two or three people have from one another. But yeah, also I think it's because there's also with Thor. So I think a lot of people have this conception that he was working solo, or he has a team. I went back to the start. There's a whole team involved. There's 10 people who worked on Heartbound, right? I don't know if he keeps talking about he works solo or whatnot, where a lot of people think it is because of the code. But there was a team originally when it came to Heartbound. I don't know if that team's still there, but there was a team when it came to Heartbound, and I think that's one of the things because people are like, oh, people are he's getting upset that they're bashing his game, and but there's a team behind the game that he made. There's like 10 people who worked on this project, and I think also it comes with the fact that Baron, the dog, is based off of his dog that died. So there's a more personal connection with this game. And then you have Yandere Simulator, the guy who made that. He has volunteer workers apparently. I don't know too much on that side, so I'm not gonna speak too much. But a lot of people always talk about their experience working on Yandere because they always do volunteer work, and then they talk about how they hated the experience or X, Y, and Z. So you always have a lot of different experiences, right? And I think that's one of the things that are talking points of these games that are really like, oh my goodness, like this game is horrendous. But the thing with Yandere Simulator right now is a free game, while this game in Amori you had to have backed, and this game has been in early access for the longest time, 7 years, and then a year before that it was kickstarted, and that was those are major differences. So yeah, but yeah, as someone who just learned about the game and has no backing towards the game or no attachment to the game, and since I played the game without any of those biases and just played the game for what it is, I can appreciate the art and the music and the animations while also thinking that the actual story is flawed for me. At the very least, I did not care for the story, and that's all there is to it. It's like some people will like it and some people won't. So yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on Heartbound? Like, just the game itself. Don't think about the 7 years of or 8 years of development. Don't think about the creator. Just think about the game itself. What do you think of the game? And go from there. And then later on, you could make your judgment off of the 8+ years or whatever. But you need to take I think you need to take the creative part out to actually assimilate or assess the game. Because the enjoyment should be based off of the game and not the creator. But I can understand why you get upset. Like, you can't enjoy something because of the creator. I can understand that. Don't get me wrong. Don't think that I can't understand that part, because like same with manga, where you find out like the creator was this and that. I'm just talking about in terms of the story. Do you actually like the story, or did you only support this because you like the creator? That's all I need to know. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this. You can let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But with that being said, this is your girl JJ Beach. You guys have a great one. Bye.